It has been called the best little space event on Earth. This year's New World Conference is back in Austin, and conference founder Rick Tumlinson joins us now with a preview. Rick, welcome to KVUE News Midday. We were just looking at some of those costumes. We will talk about that coming up in just a second. But tell us why this is not a typical space conference. I don't even know what a typical space conference is.
Well, I've been in the field for like 30 years, right? And so I designed something that I would want to go to, right? So this isn't a bunch of like aerospace corporate guys trading business cards.
Okay.
This is really about the culture of it, the excitement of it. We blend, we're going to have conversations about the race with China to the moon, and we're going to have poetry. Right?
Oh.
We're going to have people from Space Force, and we're going to have artists. So it's all blended together in a very curated way. And it's really about the idea of humanity and life moving into space, which is really starting to happen around now.
Lots of talk about that. All right, who are some of the speakers? I saw in years past you had Jeff Bezos. Jeff
actually showed up at one point to get his award. And we gave him the Space Cowboy Award. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we've got, mentioning Space Force, we have John Olson, General John Olson, Dr. Moser helped start Space Force. We have a gentleman coming in who's going to talk about cloud cities on Venus, which I did not know was a thing.
Me neither.
But it's a thing. Bob Zubrin, who wrote the plan that Elon is following to go to Mars, will be speaking. Just a wide variety of speakers.
What about, quickly, we're running out of time, about the workshops and the ball that's coming up too?
So the workshops start on Thursday. Things like how to invest in space, how to talk about space, all the way from like, here's your business plan to explaining it to your Aunt Ethel at Thanksgiving, right? Then there's the Space Cowboy Ball, which is a charity costume dance party fundraiser. It is completely off the hook. And this year, the charity is Space for Ukraine. And I've got my Ukraine colors here.
I see.
And the idea is to help build rocket clubs, robotic clubs, astronomy clubs in Ukraine so that the stars, you know, as we say, the stars will come out tomorrow for the kids over there.
There you go. Rick, I read somewhere that your interest in space started after meeting Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. Is that right? Did I get that right?
It's sort of a blend. You know, I grew up watching Apollo and the shuttle and all of that, and then there was always Captain Kirk and Star Trek. And in the mind of a kid, that kind of blends together. I eventually did meet Mr. Roddenberry, and I asked him, I said, look, I'm a terrible student. How do I get into this? And he said, well, he said, do you know what I used to do? And I said, no. And he said, I used to be an LAPD officer.
Really?
And I used to drive around with my script sitting next to me. He said, if I can do that, you can do anything you want.
That is so cool. All right, quickly, the details of the conference, when, where, how do people get tickets?
Okay, October 23rd through 25th, newworlds.org online, and special for y'all, KVUE 20 gets you 20% off your ticket.
You heard that here.
There
All right,
go.
Rick, good luck with that. Thank you so much for joining us.